Find something you can hold on to. Find someone who'll be there for
So can you hear me, Pelumi? Am I very audible?
Because that's all that really matters in the end. Find somewhere you can come home to. Find someone that'll die for you. Because it's all that really matters in the end.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Because it's all that really matters in the end. It's love, 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 love. It's all that really matters in the end. It's all that really matters in the end. Learning how to live when there's no one around. It's like learning how to feel when the drugs run out. You can see my scars cause I'm wearing them proud. Even with my broken parts, I feel better now. If I could crawl in the mind and give any advice to my younger self, find something you can hold on to. Find someone who'll be there for you. Cause that's all that really matters in the end. Find somewhere you can come home to. Find someone that'll die for you. Cause it's all that really matters in the end. It's love, love, cause it's all that really matters in the end. Cause it's all that really matters in the end. It's hard to tell the truth when you lie to yourself.
All right, then.
Always
Good
give too
evening.
much
Good
of you
evening.
to someone
Good
else.
evening. Good evening. Thank you for choosing to join the conversation this evening. This is one moment that we have looked forward to for a long time now. And I'm glad that it has come. Yes, please confirm, Chuka. Can you hear me, Chuka?
Very well, I can hear you audibly.
Can you hear
I
me,
can
Chuka?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Okay, you can hear me also. So let's go
Yeah.
now. Welcome, everyone. Yes, I can hear you also. All right, welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I see that we have some persons viewing live and direct. Thank you for joining in. We will be commenting now so we don't take so much time. It's a conversation that I think we all need to be a part of. The last time we had a session like this was, I think, way back. I think that was in January when it was on the fact that people can actually work on their LinkedIn page and get some recognition and get more connect from there. My guest at the time was Funke Ojekunle, where she shared about how to gain LinkedIn intelligence. And that was quite interesting. What I will do now is once I introduce our guest, so that those of us who are going to watch this, who are watching this live and watch it later, can have access to the things that Funke shared. I would place the link to that particular session on LinkedIn, on YouTube, in the comment section of this particular session, so that we all can benefit. For me, I think growth is something that you have to build brick by brick. If you jump up, you will come down, but if you grow up, you stay up. On that note, I'd like to welcome you. My name is Oluwapelumy, where I am a master of ceremonies, a public speaking coach, a voiceover artist, amongst many other things, not yet a father or a husband. But we're here, right? Now, tonight we would be delving into the concept of wealth, the concept of wealth. And I have in here with me somebody who is a voice in this subject, and he will bring in his perspective on board. But what better time do we should we converge to learn about how to create a system of wealth, how to create a system of wealth, a system that ensures that um, you don't get broke. You don't get broke. We live in a time when most people are struggling to make ends meet, and some people are hustling. They say, my hustle, I'm hustling, and all of that. But sometimes even the hustling does not bring food on the table. Sometimes it's just to cater for their daily bread. And it may not, in many ways, result in a sustainable system of wealth where even beyond just being able to cater for your daily bread, you are able to um, get make a put your money in an investment box portfolio somewhere, get a land in Ota, get a land in Osun to get a land somewhere, build something for yourself. Some people have it, found it very difficult to do that because you cannot build wealth if all you get is to sustain you or your daily bread. You can't build wealth that way. So how do you create a system that ensures that you never go broke and that your children can also benefit from? These are the questions we're going to be asking ourselves today. And Chuka is here to give some ideas as to how to create a system of wealth. All right. If you're watching this right now, thank you for joining. I appreciate your presence, and I'm so glad you took out time to be here. Now, what I want you to do for me is to send the link to everyone you know alive today who you know should benefit from this conversation, because I believe, for one, it will impact and change how we do things going forward. It's April. Some people have not even saved up 100,000 naira since January, right? This is April already, and it's the year is wrapping up, right? We're getting to the midpoint of the year, and then you begin to talk about, I couldn't achieve my New Year goal. It was quite difficult for me. But what if you had listened more to what Chuka is sharing here today? So it's a good thing you have joined in, and I'm glad you took out time to be here. All right, my guest today is a friend of mine we've known since 2018. I've seen him do great stuff, and it just fits the profile of the person who should come on board and share perspective. I'll read out his profile quickly. Chuka Onwabogo is a young professional who believes that young people have the potential to cause change in their communities. He writes and shares ideas online with the hashtag Chuka Talks. Chukwuka currently works with the Alternative Bank, a non-interest bank in Nigeria, as an outlet service supervisor, where he manages a team of customer service officers who engage with customers to resolve their complaints. He is passionate about education, SDG 4 and 12. Chukwuka studied educational management and economics at the University of Benin, Edo State, and currently lives in Abuja. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome with me Chukwuka. Chuka, welcome.
Wow, wow. Always a pleasure to be here, Pelumi. Thank you so much for having me. I was just smiling when you read
Right. Okay, so I'm
that
gonna have
profile.
you.
Yeah,
All right. I'm going to have you
yeah.
take it
So,
away from here. You just share your perspective. When you're done, I would ask you questions. Over to you now to go.
all right. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to be here. All right, to share our perspective on the topic. I'm very excited. Pelumi is a great guy, doing great stuff. Online. He's a master of ceremony, MCing, voiceover artist. He does a whole lot. all right, and provide solutions to businesses, to clients, both locally and internationally, right? So thank you very much for this opportunity. I don't take it for granted. Very grateful and happy to share. All
A
right.
pleasure,
My
brother.
name is Chuka. Yeah, my name is Chuka. I work with the Alternative Bank, a non-interest bank in Nigeria. As an outlet service supervisor, I manage the line officers, customer service officers to ensure that our clients' issues, complaints are resolved. We provide top-notch customer experience, and I'm very excited for the topic that we're going to be discussing today, which speaks to creating a system of wealth. All right, I think there's no better time than now to discuss about this, because if you live in Nigeria, if you live in Africa, whatever economy you find yourself, you probably must be grappling with the forces of economics, demand and supply, exchange rates, your purchasing power, your revenues, your earnings, your salary. What value does it offer to you? What are you able to do? What's the power of your salary? What's your purchasing power? All right. So it's very important we pay attention to this conversation. And looking at the topic, of course, it's something that is very popular and overflogged. But then, very surprisingly, a lot of people don't pay attention to this. All right, a lot of people don't pay attention to what we are discussing, because they feel it's trivial or it's casual. Right? Why do I need to, I just get a job or get a business or invest in real estate or do this and that, and you're fine. But you discover that at some point you get to experience lack, you get broke at some point, and you begin to wonder, why is this happening to me? What's happening? Is it that I'm not able to organize my resources? Is it that I'm not able to organize my finances? And trust me, money has a lot to play in this economy, right? So we're discussing wealth. Money has to do with it. Money has a lot to do with it, not just money, but of course resources and all of that. But we're getting into that shortly. I like to just put this caveat, right? So we're going to be sharing a lot of financial information, but then of course that doesn't negate the fact that you need to get a probably a financial advisor or an advisor, as the case may be, for your particular needs and all of that. So this is just an added advantage to your uh, perspective at the end of the day. All right, just wanted to put that out. So let's delve into the topic. I know the word delve has really been very controversial, especially in the Nigerian Twitter space. But that's not going to stop us from delving into the topic. All right. So creating a system of wealth, and fortunately or unfortunately, wealth is not something that is taught in schools. Like, creating a system of wealth is not something that is taught in educational institution, and it goes to tell you that our schools are actually not focusing on the right things. If we don't get to learn about this at the early stages of our education, at tertiary level or at university level, it means that we have a whole lot to do. So it's a personal decision to embrace this kind of education, to do research, to put all of your funds and finances together to ensure that you have a system that works. All right. So yeah, creating a system of work. So I like to look at the topic in three ways. Okay, so there are three words I quickly draw out. You have create, you have a system, and you have wealth. All right, so I'll not necessarily be talking about the regular things you already know, like getting into investment, stock, bonds, um, technology related investments, cryptocurrencies, and all of that. But I'm going to be sharing something that you would want to build on. All right, so in the long run, because creating a system of wealth is not something you do just in one day. It's something you have to plan, strategize, organize, and be deliberate about. All right. So if you look at the topic, creating a system of words, I just want to draw out some few words. First, you have create, and then you have a system or systems, and then you have wealth. All right. So what does it mean to create? It means to build. It means to bring something to life. So it means that you have to create it. So who creates something? A creator creates something. Someone that creates something is a creative. All right. So you have to have the idea that wealth is something that is created and it can be created, because we've seen a number of people we've seen a number of individuals in our society around us, even globally, that have actually created wealth. So they created it. It was not there before. They created it. They built it. They brought it to existence. They were deliberate about it, and they put in the work. All right. So just to give some context to the word create, and then you have a system. All right. So a system is simply various parts working together. So in a system, you don't only have one part, you have various parts, you have various structures working together to achieve a goal. So the goal here is to create wealth, right? So you're going to have various systems. I'm going to get into that in detail as I proceed. So you have various systems, you have various structures working together to achieve a common goal. And then when you have a system or you have structures, of course, you're going to have players, you're going to have stakeholders in that system. You're going to have it's an ecosystem, right? So you have players, you have structures communicating and working together. So there's a system, there's a connection, there are interactions, there are structures around this, and there are communication. So they all work together to achieve the purpose of creating wealth. And when you create a system, the goal we're looking at is to create wealth. So what is wealth? All right. So wealth is encompassing. It means a lot of things to different people. Some will tell you it means you have a lot of money. Some will tell you it means you have a lot of freedom. You have influence. You can do whatever you like. You have leverage. All right. So wealth is all encompassing, right? Wealth is simply your ability to, make choices, do whatever you like. You have abundance, right? You're not just rich, but you are wealthy in terms of finances, in terms of your health, in terms of your connections, in terms of your state of mind. Like it's all encompassing. All right. So wealth is not just about money. Of course, money is part of it, but wealth is something that is all encompassing, covers your health, because what is wealth without a healthy mind, without a healthy body that would utilize the wealth that you've acquired or you've gathered over time or over the years, right? So just to give a bit of structure and understanding to what we'll be discussing today. All right. So wealth is influence. It's resources that you have that you direct towards a good cause. And then some people will tell you, economics will tell you, wealth is simply your net worth. So when you look at your assets, when you have a lot of value generating assets, and then you minus your liabilities or your debt from that, you have your net worth, which also talks about your wealth. All right. So critically, what are we going to do with this information? So it means that wealth is something that you can create, and then you need a system around it. It's not something that happens by accident. It's not something that happens by chance. It's not something that happens just on its own. So first you have to understand that it is created. Secondly, you have to understand that there's a system around it, and it's not a one size fits all system. All right. So it's unique to you. You can develop your system, you can develop your strategy, you can develop your structure, but the goal is to be able to create a structure around your finances, around your resources, such that you don't go broke, and then you're able to grow your wealth over a period of time. All right. So that would really form the crux of our discussion tonight. I hope you're getting something. Please put a comment in the chat box just to let me know that you're still here. I have you and I've not lost you. And I'm connecting you with you and we're making sense. All right. Funny enough, a job will not necessarily make you wealthy. Of course, it's going to give you a foundation. All right. So 9 to 5 will not make you wealthy. It can give you a foundation to build on. Why Pelumi was giving the introduction, he talked about savings, he talked about investments, and he spoke about financial actions that you can take to be able to consolidate your wealth. So of course, I know a lot of people listening to me will probably have businesses or have a 9 to 5 or have a tech skill or have, something that you're working on. But basically, a job may not necessarily make you wealthy. It might make you rich. You have your basic resources met, and you have some other resources to do one or two things, but it will not make you wealthy in the real sense of the word, because on your job you're actually using your time to make money, like you're investing your time to make money. Whereas when you're wealthy, you're using your money to buy time. I would break those things down as we move forward. Because of time, of course, we're going to discuss how do you create wealth, how do you generate wealth, how do you grow your wealth. And their traditional approach that you've always heard, investment in value generating assets, that's real estate, stocks, bonds, government bonds, you're buying shares in companies, you're buying equity, you're owning companies, you're putting your stake in businesses to see that they grow. That's very fantastic. That's very nice, especially when you are deliberate about it. But my focus today would be on building ventures, right? So it starts with an idea, or you have an idea, and then you're able to turn your idea into products or services. So it starts with an idea. So you have an idea. I'm not talking about a 9 to 5 now. A 9 to 5 gives you the foundation to be able to build well, but you're not going to run with just a foundation. You have to get the building, you have to get the architectural designs, you have to start, putting the finishing touches. So you don't just have a foundation. So 9 to 5 gives you a foundation, but then you have to leapfrog or leverage that foundation into designing a system for yourself. So part of this system is that you have ideas that you want to turn into through things, right? Is that you turn the ideas into products, or you turn the ideas into services. And the idea of product is that you are actually solving a problem. So ideas, you can call that solutions to problems. In fact, there are so many problems in the world that you can profile solutions to, and then you productize that solution, and it becomes a product people are willing to buy. People value those products, and they're able to part with financial resources to your account. And then it could be in the way of services. You're offering a particular service, you've designed a system that offers service to a particular set of people, and this is just building a business venture. Let me just break it down to to the basic terms. Building a business venture, you're selling a product or you're selling the services, and behind that product or service you have ideas which you've turned into solutions, which you've productized, or you've turned into a particular service. And it's very important for us to think about building ventures, building business ventures, because wealth creation is about long term. It's not something you do in the short term. It's not something you do in 1 week or in 3 days. Of course, there are a lot of get rich quick syndrome programs around, that promises you wealth in a certain number of days. But if you want to really build long lasting wealth, enduring wealth that you could pass from one generation to the other, that provides you leverage, that provides you freedom, that provides you with so much wealth, you want to consider a venture. You want to consider sitting down, thinking about an idea or a solution, productizing that solution, and then, turning that into a business. All right. So why is this very important in building wealth? Because business ventures are very sustainable, and they are things that last, a very long time, especially when you do it right and you have the right skills and the right knowledge, and you're actually solving a problem. And of course, you're going to be doing this with the mindset of impact, right? You're going to do this with the mindset of solving problems and providing solutions, because once you put money ahead of you, of course you would find that money would actually not be gravitating towards you, because that's like your primary goal. But once you put impact ahead of you, once you put your systems and structures in place so that you are after making impact, apart from making money directly, you see that these structures and systems, these ventures begin to grow over time. All right. And then what's the or probably you have a skill, right? It's same thing. Your skill is to solve a problem, or you have a talent, you have some service that you're offering on your own. So you have to design a system around it that converts that into a product or a service that you can offer to the public. And today, young people are building businesses that cut across their geographical territories, all right? They cut across their country or their locations, because once you have that mindset that is a system and it's a vehicle for generating wealth, you're going to be thinking global. You're going to be thinking above or beyond your immediate environment, because trust me, you may not likely not get the amount of traction you need from your immediate environment if you don't open up your ideas, if you don't open up your solutions to a global market. Of course, you're going to start from where you are and then you build, to the desired place that you want to be. Of course, it's very important that you know that you're going to be taking a lot of risk. You're going to be taking a lot of risk. All right. So you have that at the top of your mind, because you're going to be, starting things that probably would fail, and then you have to start again. You have to, learn from that mistake and then readjust. So you're going to be taking a lot of risk, financial risk, and all of that. So you have to be ready for them. So once maybe things doesn't go right, you don't maybe back out and say, why am I doing this, or why is this not working? Of course, you have to be ready to take risk and put in the work. All right. So what else do you need to do? Um, I've spoke about building a sustainable business venture as a way to, you know, grow well. So the idea is you don't want to have a financial system that probably you earn only once in 30 days. That's very, very, very risky. All right, because you don't even spend only once in 30 days. You spend every day, right? Basic expenses that you come across or that you have to do. You have obligations that stare at you in the face every day. So you want to ensure that you have a system that enables you to earn every day or probably every week at least. But the idea of monthly incomes, from your job, except you have a lot of money that comes in at the end of the month that far outweighs your liabilities or your debts or your expenses, and then you have something that you can now diversify into other areas, then of course you're on the pathway to creating wealth. And like I said, it's not something you do one day, it's not something you do in 1 week, it's something you do in the long term. It's a long term idea, it's a long term plan, and then it's a long term strategy. All right. So, yeah, it's going to be risky. Of course, you have to be ready to take risk. And then once you have a venture, once you have a business, of course, you're going to run that business for a couple of time till it gets to a point where, it's now begin to earn for himself at a level. Of course, you have to put in the work, marketing, advertisement, sales, promotions, and all of that. All right. And at every point, you want to be sure that you're working, in a direction that you are minimizing your liabilities and you're increasing your assets. So you have income generating assets, right? You want to invest in them. You have real estate, I mentioned them earlier. You have government bonds, you have shares, stocks in companies, and then of course you have um, bitcoins, technology related cryptocurrencies, FX. You're doing all of that, but deep down you want to have something that works. You want to have a venture, let me just put it like that, something that you can interact with, that you manage. So because a business is a system on its own, all right, a business is a system on its own that you manage, that you oversee. You get to employ more players into the system and you grow with it. You understand? So it's very important uh, you think about that and then you push it. I know some people might be asking, okay, I already have a business and I'm trying to push this and it's not working and it's not making money, or I'm not able to generate wealth. What do I do? What do I do? So basically, it means that something is wrong somewhere. All right. If, of course, you have projections, you have business plans, you know what you should be making at this particular point. You should know the trajectory you should be going at this particular point, how you've grown, customer base, you know your income and all of that. So if you're not meeting up to expectations or you're not getting the desired results. You want to look back and re-strategize. You want to look back and look at what you're doing. Are you really, solving problems? Are you really profiling solutions? Because most likely, if you're doing the right thing, if you're offering solutions, if you're providing services, and you're, meeting customers' needs, it's a no-brainer that you're going to experience growth over time, which would impact on your revenue, which will impact on your income, and then basically you're working towards lowering down your costs, your operating costs, your expenses, such that your profits is able to, be plowed back into the business. You're able to diversify to other areas, and with time, you begin to see that, little by little, you are now becoming, you're not getting to a place where you're not broke anymore. Finances is not even a problem. Getting funds is not really an issue for you. But then you have to start from somewhere. All right. You have to start from somewhere. Now, um, multiple streams of income is a no-brainer. Why? Because a stream of income is a system, and then you definitely want to have various players. You want to have various structures, in your overall ecosystems, in your overall ecosystem that is geared towards, bringing in the funds, bringing in the resources, bringing in the money, bringing in the ego, like some my brothers would call it, right? Or like we call it. You want to have multiple streams, all right? So part of the reasons why people go broke is because they have basically only one stream of income, probably which is their job or just their business. And it's a very risky place to be because um, things are unpredictable. One issues might come up. You have debt and you need to service this and all of that. So you have to prepare ahead. Especially for everyone listening to this podcast, this webinar currently, you have to ensure that you have various plans, irrespective of the economy, irrespective of what your currency is saying. Always think ideas, product, and services. Like I said, you're turning ideas into products and into services. And once you ship to the global audience from your local standpoint, and people from other countries are able to access your products or your services, you break out of the limitations of your country's currency, and then you're able to tap into a global currency. And once you're able to sustain that system over time, all right, it enables you to be able to, live in that spectrum, live in that sense of wealth of the, sorry, you live in that place where you're no longer, thinking about funds. You are now diversifying your portfolio. All right. While I was researching about this topic, I found a very helpful graphic analogy that drives home the point. All right. So um yeah, it drives home the point. And the author of that content likened wealth generation or growing your wealth to a football match or a football pitch, right? So you have a football pitch, and very interestingly, a football pitch or a football match is a system. So we're not looking at the crowd, we're looking at the players, right? We're looking at the team, the coach, the players, their positions, and all of that. So the entire build up gives you a very interesting system that explains what we talk about when you look at wealth creation. All right. So if you look at a football match, for instance, you have players, you have the coach, and they have wings that they play. You have the midfield, you have the attack, you have the defense, and all of that. So you have various formations, right? So yeah, um, Babajide shared this Duroshola on Twitter, and it's very helpful, very, very, very helpful content around wealth creation. I would definitely be wrapping up with this. All right. So there are things we trivialize, budget, savings, emergency funds, things, loans, debt, things that we just trivialize because probably we've heard about them and we don't, put them in proper perspective. So Babajide shared a formation, a match formation. That's 4-2-4, where you have four players at the attack, at the defense, sorry, and then you have two players in midfield, and then you have four players, at the attack for that particular pitch. So he broke it down. The four players that you have on the defense, you have budgets. Of course, you have insurance, you have emergency funds, and you have cash management. So basically, you want to ensure that you have a budget for your finances, right? You don't just spend frivolously or out of nowhere. You just spend money. So you have various important things you have to spend on, probably yearly, monthly, or whatever it is. You have to put your income in that direction, and you're sure that you've covered the primary things that you need to spend on. So you have to work with the budget. It sounds cliche, right? But trust me, it works. All right. So the second player on that pitch, he spoke about insurance, and insurance is not something a lot of people pay attention to. It's very important for you to insure your assets. You want to get health insurance, you want to get home insurance and car insurance. And some of you might be wondering, how much do I make that I want to spend on insurance? You see, that's the idea. You need to even spend on insurance to be able to make more, because insurance protects your already existing assets. All right. So, for some amount of money, probably yearly or quarterly or monthly, as the case may be, so that when you have any damage or any unforeseen circumstance, you are able to, go over to the insurance company and lay claims based on the terms of the agreement that you have. So insurance is a way to, cover your back. All right. So you don't have to spend money to buy a particular asset from scratch if that particular asset is insured. So, of course, your health is important too, because you are the engine of the wealth creation. You're going to be working, employing people, engaging, selling products, developing business strategies. So you have to ensure that you have maximum cover on yourself, right? I'm going to talk about the place of skills development, the place of upskilling and all of that. But the third man on the pitch, he talked about the emergency funds, where you have funds set aside for emergency, all right? It could be probably ready cash, things come up. It could be your salary for 1 month or 2 months, at the case may be, but you just have some kind of emergency funds where you put in funds there, no matter how small, um, for emergencies. And this thing has to do with your mindset. You have to begin to think like a wealthy person. You have to begin to think like how wealthy people think, because you don't want to be seeing yourself as small or as someone that has not got. In fact, you don't even need to earn a particular amount to start, to begin to build these systems from your little money, from your little savings, from your little salary, from your job or from your business. You can begin to think like this. You can begin to think in structures and in systems of how you're going to, get the right players in the right positions to ensure that at the end of the day, you have a system that generates real wealth for you. And then he spoke about credit management. So that has to do with loans. For loans, you have to be very careful. Loans could be dangerous, but loans are very important, especially when you have ventures, when you have things you're building, and you want to take loans to um, accelerate it, or to expand it. So, but I wouldn't advise you take loan to start from zero. All right, you definitely should have something that you've already built that is working, that you want to expand. All right, so if it's a very good investment and you're sure of the returns, you might want to take credit to be able to boost that or put that um, investment to to bear. All right. So then for the midfield, he spoke about upskilling. Here's where where he spoke about taking courses, building your skills, getting taking courses, getting mentorship, and ensuring that you diversify. You have multiple streams of income. All right. So always think multiple streams of income. So whatever it is you're doing, how do you create other streams? How do you diversify? How do you, earn daily, because you spend daily? right? Everybody's scenario is different, so you have to look inward. You have to look at your environment. You have to think, outside the box or within the box or wherever it is that you want to focus your thinking on. How do you earn daily because you spend daily? How do you upskill? How do you need to take courses? Do you need to go for programs? Those are strategic movements that all aligns to the big picture at the end of the day. All right. Do you need to change jobs? I'm not saying you should leave your 9 to 5 if you have a 9 to 5. Do you need to change job? But then if you have a venture that's running and you're able to keep up with your expenses and you have a lot after that that would cater to your needs, why not? It means probably it's time to focus on your job. All right. But if it's not time yet, you want to stick with your 9 to 5, get your income, invest in building your business. All right. So you push the business and build it to a level where it's now very sustainable. All right. Pelumi mentioned, people hustling and bustling. Actually, I don't subscribe to the word hustling because it makes it look as if you're trying to struggle. Like you're having that picture of like you must do it. Is hard. It has to be you're toiling, right? You're hustling, like but this has to do with strategy. You're doing um the right businesses, you're making the right moves. You're not aiming and miss, you're working with wisdom. You're looking at your environment, you're looking at what are the best options for me to embrace. You're not doing everything that comes, right? So you're looking at what's the prospect, what are the possibilities, how much risk do I have, what's my risk appetite, can I go this far, how much funds do I have, can I invest in this? So you want to be um you want to try out new things, but not from a place of hustle, like toiling. You have to like hard and difficult. You have to anything that comes. You're just you are under pressure. No, no, no. You're relaxed. You're thinking it through. You are developing strategies. You are communicating. You're even reaching out to people. You are sharing ideas, and you're building a system. And like I said, it's a long term thing. It's not something that happens instantly. All right. And then finally, he spoke about I'm wrapping up. He spoke about the attack. All right. So you have investing. So investing is very critical. You invest in bonds, fixed incomes, you invest in real estate, which is a age-long, time-tested um, tool or asset that you want to invest in because it appreciates over time, no matter how small it is. You want to look at areas where there are great real estate opportunities, not necessarily in where you stay, but in other areas that are developing. You want to look at that and see how you can plug in, all right, to make the necessary investment. And then savings is very important. I know you've heard of the word savings, or you've heard of people telling you to save a certain percentage of your income. And Palumi mentioned that, of course, you have people that are not able to save in a particular year. You feel that you have a lot of expenses, you're spending that you don't even have to save. That's a dangerous place to be. That's not a very healthy place to be if you're thinking of creating a system of wealth. Savings cannot be ruled out of the picture. I realized something, right? So it's better you're saving a very little percentage of your income, and you're consistent over time, than you're planning to save a very large percentage and you're not even able to be consistent. For instance, you earn maybe maybe a million naira, or half a million naira, or you earn maybe $10,000, whatever amount it is, and your plan. Let's just say maybe half a million. You're planning to save probably half of that, or maybe 40% or 30%. Monthly or whatever interval you get your payments, and you're struggling, and then there's someone else that probably earns the same amount and then plans to save probably a lesser percentage. All right, that person is able to keep up with that because it's easier for them to save that amount. So if you're finding difficult to save a particular amount, probably you should reduce the percentage, or you should reduce your expenses, right? So the point I'm trying to make to you is that it's better to be consistent, with a lesser percentage than to make a commitment to you want to save a higher percentage and you're not able to keep up with that. All right. So wrapping up, you also have building a business venture. I spoke about this extensively. In fact, this is one of the ways to build the wealth. There are so many ways to create a system of wealth, but a business venture is certainly one of them. And the good thing about a business is that it's dynamic in its working. All right. The Bible says the prayer of a righteous man makes so much power available and dynamic in its working. So I see that in the light of a business. It's dynamic in its working. Why is it dynamic in its working? Once you build your business, there are certain level you cannot go beyond. Or let me put it this way: there are certain levels you cannot go below. So you've done your business for a certain period of time and you've grown the business and you're at a level. So you cannot come down to where you started. Of course, you keep going high, right? And then with a business, you are talking about different amounts, you're talking about different possibilities. Like, it's dynamic. You can be talking about $1 million business today, you can be talking about a $500,000 business today, and then next time you're talking about $100 million business, right, within the same business. All right. But if you have a 9 to 5 or you have a job, it's most likely not possible that you have that kind of dynamics, in a very short time or in a period of time. All right. So you want to you want to stick to that and do that. And then finally, you want to manage your portfolio. So right now you have a lot of things going on for you. You have businesses, you have investments, you've done real estate, you've invested in crypto, you've invested in stocks, technology related assets, and you have so much working for you. So you want to manage your portfolio, right? At this stage, you want to employ probably a wealth manager or somebody to oversee your wealth for you, somebody to look at the numbers and ensure that your system keeps working. And then you, as the engine, you keep lubricating yourself. We spoke about that. You keep upgrading yourself. You keep getting the skills you need. You keep learning about new investment opportunities coming up, and then you are also empowering other businesses. You're also giving out. You're also being part of other projects. It could be philanthropic projects. It could be way to give back to your community or your society. It could be anything. All right. So you're also giving back, and trust me, if you put all of these things together, you already have a system that works. All right. So it's something you have to begin to think about, whatever level you find yourself, whatever level of earnings you are, whatever job you're doing. It's something that you need to start thinking about. How to create a system of wealth is something that you need to begin to work on, and you have to be deliberate about it, because sorry, nobody's going to do it for you. You have to put in the work, except you're born into a royal family with silver spoons and all of that. But then you still have to learn how to grow the system, how to manage the system, how to develop the system. Probably you've walked into a system that has been created for you. If you don't know how to work the system or lubricate the system such that it grows, in a couple of years, you find that the system would collapse or would crash. You don't want that to happen, all right? So, yeah, we've said a whole lot about creating a system of wealth. We've said a whole lot about um, turning ideas into products and services. We've said a whole lot about diversifying your income. We've said a whole lot about building business ventures. We've said a lot about having multiple streams of income. And I gave a picture shared by one of my respected mentors online, shared a very graphic example of how you can grow wealth, how you have to budget, how you have to um, think about insurance, how you have to think about emergency funds, how to manage credit, how to manage debt, and then how to upskill yourself, how to ensure that your health is prioritized, and then you have to also work on investing, savings, managing all of that portfolio in a way that it continues to generate wealth. All right. And you're doing this, you're keeping your expenses low, you're keeping your operating costs low, you're thinking of alternatives, probably power generation, gobs a lot of your operating expenses, or maybe you have a lot of employees you're paying, or you have a lot of, overhead costs. You want to see how you bring that down, by exploring alternative sources or means of, addressing those issues. And then you want to also reinvest whatever you have and diversify your portfolio. All right. So you don't want to have just one system. You want to have multiple structures working together to achieve the goal of creating a system of wealth. All right. Pelumi, I don't know if you're still here. I would be bringing this to
All
close
right,
while
then. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
we yeah, very well. While we take on questions, comments, from our audience. Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, then. Well, you have spoken so brilliantly. Thank you so much for sharing all you have said. And I think anyone listening to this right now and those who will listen afterwards would be grateful they came across this particular podcast today. I think of the things you've shared, I think something that seems to be the foundation of everything is to first, if you want to create a system of wealth, is to know how to get out of debt first. Because for as long as you stay deep into debt, the tendency that a person would be able to create a system that ensures that wealth is consistent is very slim. Somebody will say, okay, but I think that Dangote used to borrow money from banks. He does, but
Yeah.
but why Dangote borrows money to the women? I think they borrow money as well. Why shouldn't I borrow money? But you're not there yet. There is a degree to which you can be free from debt that even banks will reach out to you to come and take money from them because they know that you have created a system of wealth enough to pay back the debt you're about to collect. And they are sure that once you get the money from them, you're going to pay back because they can see that you have a system
Capacity.
that can
Yeah.
the capacity to repay. And usually when
Yeah.
you when you go to meet them, say, okay, I want to borrow money from you, I want to lend me money. Sometimes they will say to you, how will you pay back? What do you have on ground already? What let's see what you have done, what you have so far to give us the guarantee that you're not just taking this money just to feed yourself, you're taking this money to put it into a business that has been tested. And I think I want to just answer this question as we wrap up tonight. Is it advisable to somebody has you've spoken about the fact that one may not be able to build wealth doing 9 to 5 because the day they tell you to go, you may be back. Give you 3 months, you may be back to square one. So somebody wants you've spoken about also that business running your idea, converting ideas into product into services is a sure way of ensuring that over time one can build a system of wealth. But somebody who has an idea now, and the only way he can start the idea, would you recommend that the person who has not tested and tried an idea yet goes to borrow money from Fair Money and all these platforms to start an idea that's not been tested, following the advice that we should convert our ideas into business services? Over to you, Chuka.
Oh, thank you very much for that question. I was just smiling when you were talking about the depth conversation, right? So, I would look at it this way. There's something called other people's money. You want to leverage other people's money to build wealth. That's a way to build wealth too. But when you talk about loans, right, I want to use this analogy. So loans, taking credits has to do with your reputation, and then of course you have to pay back and all of that. If you don't pay back, the banks and financial institutions will be after you. But I see loans as you have a fire. You've set up a fire like a traditional fire system. You have probably firewoods and all of that. So you have fire already burning, right? And then you go and get probably kerosene or fuel, and then you pour in the fire, the thing explodes, right? Do you get? Or you get more wood into the fire and then it keeps burning. So you already have a fire or a working system and you're just getting something to, introduce into that system to boost it. So I would advise anybody to get a loan if you don't have a fire, like if you don't have a system or something on ground that you've already built to a level. All right. Because once you are in debt, definitely you would be struggling to get out of the debt first before you even begin to create a system of wealth. Right. So coming down to someone that has a 9 to 5 and you want to start a business, because I think that at a level, a 9 to 5 will not necessarily enable you to create a system of wealth. It gives you a foundation, all right, but in a particular building, a foundation is not just all you need. You need other things, right? So 9 to 5 gives you a foundation. In fact, you have a business ideas. The best place to test your business ideas is on 9 to 5. All right. You're doing 9 to 5 because the 9 to 5 is going to probably fund your business, provide some level of leverage. All right. So while you're doing 9 to 5, you're putting your business to test, you're testing your ideas. You have customers, you have colleagues, you have friends. And I'm not actually of the opinion of, um, just running away from 9 to 5 because you want to start your business and all of that. Of course, you have to get to a certain level. So the 9 to 5 is going to even help your business because it gives you the leverage to be able to meet customers, meet clients, meet people, test your ideas within your circle of network so that you have like an MVP, a minimum viable product that you want to, that you've tested and you've seen that it works, right? Then you now want to expand. Do you get? So your 9 to 5, that's a very good place to start. So while on 9 to 5, begin to think of a business venture that you want to do, because I realize that a lot of people who do 9 to 5, or most of the young guys or young chaps who do 9 to 5, they just focus on 9 to 5. It's not as if they've not heard about starting a business or building a venture or something, but when they get in, they get carried away, with the pay. Of course, the pay is very good, the perks, the other things that comes along with it, right? They probably lose focus on that part of their own plan. Of course, if you talk to anybody, they have that already in their plans, but over time, not everybody is able to carry out that plan. So what you want to do is to be firm on your plan, test your business ideas within your network, within your 9 to 5 guys, within your colleagues. If it's something that works, and then you begin to work on it at a level, you would see that from the income you get from the traction you build, from the attraction you gain, you'd know definitely, okay, this is the time to probably leave, or this is the time to get a loan. Of course, you don't want to start a business with a loan. You want to start with your savings. You want to start with money from friends, family, and so there are businesses that you don't necessarily need um, financial resources to start. It might sound funny, but the truth of the matter is not all ideas or businesses require like so and so millions of naira to start from day one. You need a certain amount probably to start, probably from your savings. That is why it's your business. You want to stake in your resources. If you don't stake in your resources, you're trying to tell other people to come and stake in their resources in your business. That's basically taking a loan. Do you think they want to, oblige you? All right, they want to see track record. They want to see what you've done. They want to see. In fact, some banks will even ask you, what's the projection? What's the final? What's your transaction? What have you done in the last probably 6 months or 1 year that you've run this business? Have you funded it and all of that? Those are the questions you'll be asked. So you want to ensure that you've grown the business to a certain level with personal resources. And once it gets to a certain level, the business begins to take care of itself. Once you play your cards right. All right. So starting out with loans is not a good option. The big guys who take loans already have a system of paying back the loans, right? And then your 9 to 5, it's a very good place for you to start. All right. Your 9 to 5 is a very good place for you to start,
True.
grow your business, test the waters,
That's true.
and yeah, you know, make forward advancement from there. Thank you. I hope that provides some
That's correct.
answers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You've answered brilliantly. You've answered brilliantly. Well, just like you have said, sometimes when you have an idea, you don't have to jump. out of your 9 to 5 and then just switch immediately. That might affect you in many ways. That one,
That's
you can
risky,
use
very risky.
it very risky. You can use the money just like you want to jump out of a driving a moving car. You want to be very
Accident.
careful about about how you switch. You can actually fund your dream using the money salary you get. So I told somebody was it last month or so. I told her that sometimes you work in a place and then you work in a place, not a place you like, but not a place you love, but a place you can stay and use the money to fund your dream. You are a keyboardist, for instance, you are a drummer, for instance, and then you want to own a drumming school. What you can do, and if to buy a drumstick, you will need to work in it. You can teach in a school, you can work in a place, and then get the money from that place to buy a drumstick, to get a drum set for yourself, and then be better. So, and then like you also say that people, you don't, sometimes it's not every business you need to go and get a loan to start. You want to start a makeup business, and then the first thing on your mind is to go and rent a shop. You're not ready. You can take from the money you have, and then get your makeup kit. Because if you have a shop without makeup kit, you are still in trouble. So you can actually get a makeup kit, a makeup box, and then begin to because Facebook is not going to get money ask you to pay to open an account on Facebook. You can open an account on Instagram for free. And then you can take the money, you can take your money, get your kit, buy a good phone. I would rather you buy a good phone than to rent a shop. You buy a good phone, get the lighting, snap pictures of you making up, conducting makeup of people's faces. Even it could be your mom's face, it could be your sister's face, and then you can post online. So you're doing your 9 to 5, no doubt, but you are also having that as an aside that brings in the money for you to get to the point where you will grow to an extent where the money you are paid from a 9 to 5 becomes the money you save, while the money you make from what you do by the side becomes the money you spend. And when you get to that level, it gives you a level of stability. I can tell you for a fact, it pays when you are sure that you have made an investment. And Chuka has listed a couple of things today that I hope that anybody listening to this right now will want to listen to what others have been shared and then get value. And then something else I think we also need to drum into the ears of people is not to hustle. Hustling is a cause.
Yeah,
It means
yeah.
that you are trying to make it work by all means. Hustling is something without structure. There's no strategy around it. There's no strategy, no thinking. I
It's not
just
thinking.
want
Yeah,
to make ends meet. I want to make two ends meet. And then when I'm done making them meet, I leave them again. And then the next day I want to make them meet again. Just like a man pulling ropes from the right and to the left, trying to tie it together. Maybe a man who has is pulling a rope, two ropes tied to two different cows on different ends, on the right and to the left, and try to pull them together. So today he pulls them together, makes them meet, gets his money. The next day he wants to make them meet again and gets his money. And that way one may not entirely become stable enough to be able to run a family properly, live a happy life, travel to places, do good stuffs. And so we have established today that if you follow the model that has been shared, you most likely will get to the point where you'll be comfortable enough to help others. It's an incredible time sharing thoughts today, and it's podcast April podcast with Oluwapelumy and friends. And my guest today has been fantastic in his dealings. He is, like I said, a professional and somebody who you can reach out to when you want to talk about business, talk about customer service. You could come to trainings, and you would be glad you engaged him for that. I mentioned before I introduce my guest that I will be dropping the link to the one we had in February, where I invited a friend, Funke Ojetole, where she shared about how to gain LinkedIn intelligence. It was fantastic that day, and I hope that if you listen to it, you'll be glad you did. Thank you so much for joining today. Chuka, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you, brother.
thank you so much.
You are always on point every time we bring you on the show. Till we come your way again in May. I have a friend of mine who will be coming in May. She has given me a go ahead to announce. She is by name learn it. Okay, so by the time she comes, you will understand how she got that name, and then we'll be talking about how to create sustainable brands. Solid woman who will be coming on board to share stuff with us. So it's like come away next time to have a wonderful night rest. My name is Oluwapelumy. I'm an MC, TV presenter, and a communications coach. All right then. See you next time. God bless you. Enjoy this music. I found this music today. By the way, I found this song today online when I was coughing the internet, and I think it's a good song to listen to, especially when you are in a relationship. But go on, let's enjoy.
We're old friends. It'll never be too late to start again. Find something you can hold on to. Find someone who'll be there for you. 'Cause that's all that really matters in the end. Find somewhere you can come home to. Find someone that'll die for you. 'Cause that's all that really matters in the end. It's love, love, love. Find something you can hold on to. Find someone who'll be there for you. 'Cause that's all that really matters in the end. Find somewhere you can come home to. Find someone that'll die for you. 'Cause that's all that really matters in the end. It's love, love, love. Love, love, love. Because that's all that really matters in the end.